Hello and welcome to the season finale of 3 a.m. with myself, your host and panel member, Acid Strain. Yeah, it's been a pretty interesting ride, hasn't it? I mean, a pretty short season, but, you know, it's just to get the kinks out. Back from hiatus, we got Pyro. Ladies and gentlemen, Pyro.
Yo.
And co-mastermind behind this production, Lightning.
Hi.
Tonight's topic is interesting. We're going to be talking about doomsday theories and, the apocalypse, 2012 and stuff. Believe it or not, there's actually a large following to the whole 2012 theory. Pyro, what do you think about this?
There's been a whole lot of depictions in Hollywood. The movie 2012, where it depicted that the Earth's core would get superheated and it would just cause all this chaos. But, I actually think that the apocalypse is going to be more of a man-made thing. Like a country gets a little trigger happy. I think that's pretty much how it's going to go down, leaving the planet a desolate wasteland.
Yeah, that makes sense. You look at, different movies. Lots of movies are, always blaming it on natural occurrences, or aliens. You got 2012, Independence Day, Armageddon, all those kinds of movies. But I gotta say, I agree with you. In the state that we are now, lots of things are going down, and it looks like we're selling ourselves short and trying to become better, but setting ourselves up for destruction.
The end.
The end.
The end. This is the end of the podcast. But okay, I definitely agree with Pyro. The fact is that we are gonna become that one spot, and the one little theory, quote unquote, is gonna be like, hey, okay, well, the world is gonna blow up. From what exactly? And what Pyro said before, it's either gonna be a country becomes trigger happy, and we're just gonna pretty much f ourselves up. And I don't know. I mean, I'm really looking forward to the next coming year. I'm really not looking forward to the whole 2012. Are you kidding me? I can see people right now standing in the middle of New York, right when the ball is dropping, and just like in Futurama, I can picture everybody in every country going 3 in a different language.
Like in the cartoons, it zooms out and the planet just cracks in half.
Exactly. We're talking about 2012 being bogus and, it being more of a realistic cause. Even if 2012 isn't real, which I'm not saying it's going to be, I honestly disagree with all of that. I mean, you look at, all those doomsday theories, there's a few I can list off, Y2K being one of them, that guy Harold Camping from more recent. Even in the 70s, they said the world was going to end. But, I mean, if 2012 isn't real, you still got all those cult followers to deal with. I mean, all those people who are fanatics over it. There's going to be, riots starting. I mean...
Definitely. There's going to be people that blow it out of proportion and, board up their windows and, hide out in bomb shelters, and then they're going to come out and say, wow, we were really freaking stupid.
It's not about bomb shelters. I'm talking more of, riots. People are going to figure, oh, it's the end of the world. I can get away with anything, It's filling people's heads with this bogus. And then, lots of shit goes wrong. And then there's stuff that... yeah, you can recover from, but long term, all these businesses are going to be trashed and stuff. And something that I want to say about 2012 is, I forget who it was, but I think it was The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. He had the guy on who wrote that book about the computer algorithms and stuff, and took a closer look at 2012 and how he was like, oh, it's going to happen, it's got to happen. And he had him on, and Jon Stewart said, when 2012 comes to pass, what are you going to do? You can't keep making all this money. He goes, well, I guess I'll just write another book. Really, people make so much money. You look at that guy, Harold Camping. So many people gave him, so much money. It just takes someone with lots of charisma to fool people into scams like that.
It's funny, because I was actually in the car when the rapture was supposed to happen, and I was on, I think, 91, one of the radio stations, and it was playing It's the End of the World as We Know It, just as a joke. The guy said that there was going to be a specific time that the rapture happened. The radio host was like, okay, 3, 2, 1. Well,
Nothing.
we're still here, I guess. I guess the guy was an idiot and lied to us. Do you think that that guy actually believes the crap he spews about the world ending?
There's lots of religious fanatics like that. And, let people believe what they want to believe. But when it comes out of their pockets, that's when it needs to stop, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Anybody else hoping for a zombie apocalypse?
Right here.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd rather deal with zombies any day than live people. Think about it here. Unless you happen and help us if this happens. If zombies learn how to use guns. What the... Okay, I can understand maybe an axe or a blunt object. I can understand that. But a weapon? Really? Like... What? Like we really are turning back into like Resident Evil 4, like all like more of Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 5, and the upcoming Resident Evil 6. Everybody knows how to use guns, grenades and fire bombs, which is kind of silly, but like it just kind of builds on like everybody's idea. Oh, the world's definitely gonna end or something's gonna happen. I would more than happy to freak out or freak in, like we had talked about in the previous podcast, and then pointed out that. The people who do freak out, they end up turning into these people who want to start, like, killing and, like, people just crack under this pressure. And once the end of the world is going to happen, people are going to be like, oh, my God, kill us now, or I'm going to kill you, I'm going to do this, I'm going to rob this store.
That's what I'm saying.
Acid Strain.
That's what I'm saying.
Acid Strain pointed out.
People are going to crack and be like, well, I can get away with anything. Or I got to save myself. And there's going to be riots. There's nothing you can do. I mean, like... I'm kind of waiting for it to happen to see how bad it gets. But you notice the media is looking more towards gruesome events, like that shooting in Colorado. And more recently, right outside the Empire State Building, you had a shootout between police officers and a single guy.
That's true. I actually did hear about that, and that was very...
It's crazy.
And going a little further back was that quote-unquote zombie attack in Florida.
Right, with
don't get everybody started, please.
Oh no, I'm not going to get started. I just felt like it was worth mentioning.
It is. It definitely is. People are definitely strange things going on, and people are actually choosing to notice it this time around. I don't know if it's hype. I don't know if it's people being worried. I don't know what it is, but you definitely see a lot more of it these days.
Yeah.
How sad is that, Like, think about this. Using suicide as the outlet, Like, oh, the world, is never going to be the way it is, and, it's better to die. Can you imagine that? How the people of, like, our society now could be like, we have alcohol, we have drugs, we have a lot of things that could kill us or make us, like, really funny.
You brought up a really interesting point that I want to touch on right now. Talking about suicide. Yeah, there's going to be riots, but there's going to be tons of people who are just... I don't know, there might be mass suicide because of shit like this, and it's regretful to say, but people are that way. I mean, it's really a shame that people let stuff like this get a hold of their judgment, and I mean,
Definitely.
I'm not trying to condescend or anything, but it's, when you think about it, it's not really too worth getting all caught up in, like, you're trying to live your life. You shouldn't let your life be ruled by that. I mean, last episode we talked about middle school, and now we're like, jeez, we come along.
Hey guys, we're off to college, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people are telling me, hey, you better watch out in college. I'm like, why? It's like, because, you ever see The Happening? I'm like, oh.
Could be the end of your world. Directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
M. Night Shyamalan, ding dong, that's what he is.
I saw that one coming.
I mean, but think about it. To me, I'm not really too concerned about that. Right now, I'm thinking about my, like, future. Right now, I want to, like, worry about the things I want to worry about rather than, I'm gonna die, I don't want to do this because it's gonna be the end of the world. I agree with Acid Strain on this because what we, as people and humans, are, like, we have our own minds. We are able and capable of pushing our limits and be able to withhold certain aspects of, like, I guess...
Temptations.
Yeah, exactly, thank you. And, there are a lot of people who can, like, really withstand, like, peer pressure. Like, for me, like, going through high school, it was definitely one of those things where it's like peer pressure is everywhere. You just got to learn how to either roll with it or you really just start, like, doing it with them. And I'm happily to say that I am...
too fluffy for drugs.
Hey, I'm pretty okay with my weight, and...
I wasn't saying anything like that. Anyway,
digressing.
Yeah, let's get back onto the apocalypse. What's your theory, Lightning?
On the apocalypse itself?
Yeah, how do you think it's gonna happen?
I have a few theories. Either nuclear bombing is obviously one. Go figure. I blame the media and the internet because if the instant you say apocalypse and people instantly think nuclear weapon, nuclear this, I blame like everything else in our world.
And
But
then everyone starts running around in circles.
but
Oh yes.
okay, the other theory is that it has to do with not only radiation, but what would happen if something like the plague started occurring.
You're talking about epidemic of swine flu. There's a new strain of it, H2N3. It's funny that we're talking about plague and famine because ironically it's like we're mice walking into a mousetrap. We've got famine. You talk about the drought. It's coming soon. We got war. Pestilence is on its way too. If anybody doesn't know what those are, let me tell you. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. I mean...
You know what? I was just about to note that. But it's funny how you mentioned that right now, because think about this for a second. You know how everyone's saying, oh, the apocalypse? Well, there could be a lot of ways that people can see things. I mean, think about all those movies or all those times where people are always wanting to know what their future holds, and they go, oh, you're gonna get smashed, you're gonna get hit. They can be all different representations of like other things that can happen.
Yes.
So it wouldn't be the world ending; it'd be us holding that like force, like all the 4 horsemen.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. And it's definitely some interesting, thought-provoking stuff. It's been interesting that we're talking about all the topics. This has been a very, very interesting experiment. I think it's pretty awesome that I can do this with a bunch of friends. Rather than asking a question to the, commenters or viewers this time around, I think that, it's kind of a special occasion. I feel like we should get some comments in this time around. Before we end this episode, any words, Pyro?
Well, I really honestly hope that we get to do this like for as long as possible, and I hope we can get, well, because obviously Lightning will be going to college. I hope we can get some great panelists, and hopefully maybe we can even get Lightning back.
Yeah, actually, believe it or not, I actually already have another panelist set up. Gamma is willing to do the show on the Wednesdays. Lightning, any words?
It has been a great run so far, and to think we had this idea back in like
middle school,
to think that 3 a.m. has become such like a little thing that we've been doing now, and it's progressing into this bigger thing that we, as like friends, acquaintances, and whatever you can call us now, like has grown to become something that we are now doing as like a group. And it really is something that we can always think about and look back and say, hey, that was really cool when I was like doing this. But it has been a great run for season 1, and I will try my best to plan out what days you guys are shooting. You guys are holding the podcast. Obviously it's going to be on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
And it's college, so what can you do? But I will definitely find some time to come back to our viewers and to you guys, the panelists, and say hello and update you with the latest stuff, whatever we can talk about later on in our season 2 finale and later on in our series.
That's great. Since this is the last episode, I want to say there's going to be a fancy credit roll at the end coming up in like a few seconds. But before I go, I just want to thank you guys for watching and all that stuff. And we'll be back late September. So it's been great. It's myself, Acid Strain, your host, commentator. Pyro's with us, and Lightning. Plenty more. We got plenty more in store for you. So see you around.
Peace.